Sorry, guys, I had to take a break. It, Heidi, and then my dad. Let me talk about Heidi for a minute or two more. We were admiring how chill Mickey is here, laying in Victoria's lap as we're driving along. This cat is like the ultimate. Just so. If we changed his name, it would be Chilly Willy.
Yeah.
He's just so chill.
So calm.
Yeah. I've never seen a cat so calm in a car ride. We got a few minutes before we hit the next charging station. I'm going to talk about Heidi and how her passing, her death really changed my world. It rocked me to the core with grief, but it also changed the way I looked at things, and how I lived. I no longer wanted to work for Canada Post. I had 2 babies at that time when she passed away. Gabriel was 11 months old. Trinity was just past 2. Gabriel and Trinity are 16 months apart, so she was over 2 years old. Neither one of them have much of a memory of her. I tried to keep her memory alive as much as possible. And Trinity is a lot like Heidi. She's got a lot of traits like Heidi, physical and artistic qualities like Heidi. Heidi's passing was really devastating to me in so many ways. Her husband, her widower now, he blocked my parents from seeing her. He blocked me from seeing her. Hardhouse stepped in. And one of my last memories of Heidi in her own house when I visited her was seeing her laying in her bed. Not even her bedroom, because he had taken over her bedroom. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat shit. He was shit. He moved into her house. She had that house paid off years before he came into her world. And all of a sudden, she's got this $200 and some odd thousand mortgage on her house, which he then claimed was his house. He made it very clear that last time I was there that it's his house. And one of the signs that she was going through abuse, as the lawyers told me afterwards, because the lawyers were my lawyers too, that he was there when she wrote her will. And she signed everything over to him. Even though he had been short-term in her life. And one time Heidi called, she heard I would talk on the phone frequently. We barely got to see each other anymore. She was always afraid that she stayed too long if she had the truck, and she'd have to get back so that Rick could use the truck for whatever reason. It was her truck, but he had to use it. She would start getting anxious and worried, which were signs that he was controlling her. She couldn't make any decisions for herself anymore. She had to consult him all the time with everything. No matter what it was. Heidi. It was really weird. Heidi was having some pancreatic issues before she was diagnosed with lung cancer. And there was something going on in her head. She always had this weird wanting we were thinking she was going to die. Like, we used to joke about it. She would get a migraine, and she would say she thinks she has a brain tumor. This was years and years ago. And I'd say, no, it's not that tumor. Yeah. So Heidi had this pancreatic issue, and the doctors couldn't figure out what it was. They would keep doing, keep doing all these tests and stuff on her, and they even went in at one time and widened her pancreatic duct, thinking that that was going to make a difference. It wasn't making a difference. And one time she actually called the cemeteries to see if there was any plots available to purchase. And they said no, we got years long waiting list for people to buy cemetery plots. She wanted a cemetery plot in the same cemetery the rest of our family is in. So a few months later, for some weird reason, she decided to call the cemetery again to see if they had a plot available, and it just happened that morning. A double plot came available, and apparently her husband insisted that a husband and wife should be side by side, even in death. No argument there, but I don't know what marriage is like. I can't say that I'd make similar decisions, but anyway, I know at one time she wanted to be cremated, and all of a sudden she didn't, and wanted to be buried in the cemetery. And so that morning she bought herself a double plot. That was February of 2008. And then she went to the cottage that she bought, really. And all of a sudden she had no use of her arm, and she went to the local hospital there, and they said, we're not sure what's going on here, but we recommend you go back to the city. And she was Googling everything she could on it. She's like, I don't know what's going on, but it's something serious. So she went to the hospital, and he left her there that night. And apparently a doctor came along instead of having proper bedside manner after they did a whole bunch of x-rays and stuff. He walked in 2 o'clock in the morning while she was by herself and said, well, you have lung cancer and you're going to die, and see you later, basically. That's how they diagnosed her initially. And they held her in. She had a lump on her breast. This is what actually she told me about this beforehand. This is when same day she told me about the lump on her breast. It was the same day I found out I was pregnant with Gabriel. And yeah, it was such an awkward, weird time. Such an awkward, weird time. And the fact that she bought that plot. She was in her she was officially diagnosed on her 53rd birthday when they went deeper in and did the lumpectomy or the biopsy on the lump on her breast. And turned out that, and it was so weird too, because I don't know, about a couple of months before, I had a dream of a diagnosis, and I don't have many dreams now, and this one was clear to me that it was 3 tumors, 1 on each lung and 1 on the liver. And it was the exact diagnosis as what Heidi had. It was a premonition dream. I thought the dream was about me, but it was about Heidi, clearly, because it was the exact diagnosis. Me having already had cancer, I know the mindfuck that goes along with cancer. And the paranoia and the constant concern, and that's part of the reason why I really embraced being positive thinking and fighting. I knew the statistics with depression, if you suffer from depression, you're more likely to be diagnosed with a cancer. And the constant stress and stuff like that. Fast forward to November 27th, 2009. I was in the hospital room with Heidi. There was a couple of other friends in the room. Not her regular friends, they were his friends that she made friends with. And we're about to pull over for charging again. And I'll try to make this quick. Heidi and I were left alone together, and this was shortly after a piece I had written had been published in a book that I had written about Heidi and I and our memories of land that my parents used to own that they sold off. And I had written this piece about it, and it had been published, and I was so excited because I really, really wanted to be a writer. It's not in me. I don't know if it's in me anymore. Talking apparently is. Podcasts, yes. Podcasts.
Yeah.
So in that time we were left alone, I had read that piece to her. It was a chapter in a book, and honestly, I don't want to take credit for it. I don't want to talk about the book. It's not my book. It was a submission for a compilation of stories. And so she blew me a kiss. She was no longer able to talk at this point. She blew me a kiss. And I was holding her hand, and then the friends came back in, and her husband came back in, and he had already left. He had kissed her and said, I'm going home to have a shower, watch the game, and have some dinner. That's what he said to her. Kissed her goodbye. And he took off. I just said, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not leaving her side for anything. And my parents had been in there earlier that day, and I don't think they could handle it. I don't think they could handle the reality of losing their firstborn child. And earlier that day, I did take them home and came straight back to the hospital. It was such a screwed up time, really screwed up time. Ex was at home taking care of the kids. I couldn't have done it had he not been there to take care of the kids. There's so many things about that time I could talk about. It'll just come out convoluted at this time, but no, car, you can't do that. I was with her, holding her hand. Ooh, we got it back. Lost connection there for a second. I was holding her hand, and that was it. She was gone, and I knew right away. And the people in the room were like, no, she just fell asleep. No, she just fell asleep. No. She's gone. Can you plug in? You can't. I'm at the charging station now. I gotta get out and plug in, and I'm gonna take a break, and then we're gonna go talk about after she had gone and the passing or the diagnosis of my father and how that transpired, because that was an incredible time too. Yeah, cancer sucks. Fuck cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Good, the bad, and the ugly of my life.
My life and
welcome to it. Yeah, the extraordinary life. Very ordinary with a lot of extras. I'll talk to you after, guys.